After a rather challenging time trying to get things done outside the shop, I decided to come in, get the CNC started on another project. It's going to take quite a while, and see if I could do a little woodworking meditation. This is going to be back to basics: table saw, chisel, tape, tape measure. I found my stencils for stars, got some spray paint, and I got a square. That's about all I use. You can make it as simple or as complicated as you want. I just wanted a way to decompress and actually make something. Here you go. I've got some cut-offs of 2x4s that I figure might be a good thing to use for this. This one's not going for sale or anything, so just a way for me to spend some time out here not having to worry about anything. And it'll use up some of my scraps that likely won't have a place anywhere else for a while. And what I'm using here is my flat grind blade. This would be easier if I just took it over to the miter saw, but I'm keeping everything on the table saw. I'm keeping everything with this one blade. Not looking to do anything fancy. Even taking my time, it shouldn't take too long. One thing I'm not enjoying too much about this is with the CNC running right now. I'm running without dust collection on this, so there'll be some cleanup involved, but that's alright. And what I realize right here is now I've just got some smaller scraps that I'll probably end up using somewhere down the line. Here I'm going to try and set the blade pretty close to about halfway through. Run this piece over a few times. See if I can't get it to meet up on both sides. Now we'll see if we can mark out where we want this to cross. And as much as I love my crosscut sled, it's not quite big enough for that way. Marking out my lines like this takes me back to when I used to do it outside, building decks and doing remodels. But it does go to show that even the basic tools work. And this will take a while, so I'm going to speed it up and skip the middle. See if we can't slow it down when it gets near the end. All I'm going to be doing is cutting out halfway through so that the two pieces will slide together flat. Get one edge, get the other. I'm staying on the inside of my lines, which means I'll have to sneak up on it to get it to fit right, but that's exactly what I want. There's half of it done. Just do the same thing on the other side. That looks like it'll do it. So now, since I didn't quite get it right on the table saw, use a chisel and clean it up a little bit. Get it to fit nice. And there we go. I'll use this frog tape. Get some clean lines on it. I'm not wanting the tape to be the line just yet. I want it to cross over where I want the line to be. That way I can use a knife and make sure the lines are clean. And there's one clean line. Take that other piece of tape, fill it out for a stripe. I don't care too much about the end grain part right here, but I really don't want a lot of paint getting on the part that I'm actually going to glue together. And it has been a long time since I've used a rattle can for anything. I actually spend more time than it shows trying to figure out if I want the paint to cover the wood as much as possible or leave some of the grain showing through. And I just decided to let it be what it is. Now, if I ever want to put it back exactly where I had it, I know where it goes. With the blue already done, I'm trying to get this tape to where it'll stretch out on both sides of the stripes. Got a piece of scrap wood that's about the right width that I'm going to use as a straight edge and got down along the tape again. And that gives me my straight edge. I did make sure that tape was cut straight or pretty straight or somewhat close to straight going down on the end grain. Yeah, still looking at the blue paint. I'm gonna have to turn this here in a second because I don't think I'm getting the tape quite where I want it. This at least gives me a length. Yep, needed to move it over just a little bit. And this I think is the 1.5 inch tape. So if you want to be more careful about it than I was, you could just use it. But I find putting a straight edge and cutting it gives me a much better line. And again, I want the sides to be as straight as they can be, at least until it wraps around. Now we'll just see if we got about the same gap on both sides of this. And it looks like we do. Tape up this flat again. I don't mind the color being on the end grain, especially the top of the end grain. If the wood shrinks at all, you'll still be able to see the right color, but every place else it can stay away out of this joint. Here's what it looks like when you know the top isn't quite dry and you think you might just be able to get this done without any overspray. And believe it or not, I did. This is a little tight, thanks to the tape. But it'll work. Okay, one tool I didn't list at the very beginning. I did actually use this just to make sure it was lined up about right. And I will say this is where if you actually had a plan before you start doing something, you might actually know what you're going to do and plan for it. But this was really just taking some scrap lumber and a 2x4 and seeing what I could do. And yes, I did put on a glove because I really don't want to get paint on my hands. I'll have a link to these templates down in the description. There are a few different ways to do it. If you're going to do it the way I'm doing it now, be aware of where you're spraying and overspray or underspray in this case can get into those stars if you're not careful. And you can see where I cleaned off my template. Now it's a matter of getting all this tape off. About done. I really think I could have sped this part up, but I didn't. And I got some spots on this to clean up, but shouldn't be too bad. Dusty fingerprints. There we go. Now it's just a matter of gluing them together and we'll be done. Just before I started this glue up piece, I went and looked and the CNC's still going. If you ever wonder what you can do with the thin strips you cut off on your table saw, assuming you've got a zero clearance insert and don't let them fall down in the throat, work pretty good as glue spreaders. And if I'm not going to get paint on my hands, why get glue on them? Let the glue dry, pull the clamp, and that's it. Meditation complete. And with that, I hope you have a great day. Till next time.